Part 2 of ADHD in adults. Going to go back now and look at how it may have looked in your childhood. You may have been more, if you've got siblings like me, I'm one of 5. And my mum knew I was different. Obviously I was the 5th one out. She'd had 4 kids which were normal, shall we say, for argument's sake, and then me. And she knew I was different. So you would have shown behaviours, like outrageous behaviours, as a child. And I mean, I'll give you an example. You might randomly swear where you're not supposed to, or something outrageous. You'll be doing something that a normal kid wouldn't be doing. You also would have probably grown up quite. You may have got in trouble with the police. A majority of people that have grown up with adult ADHD undiagnosed like myself have been down the wrong path in life. So you could have well been in trouble. You could have well been in prison. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Each to their own. You might have been in a young offenders institution, or you might have been in all of them, like me. But yeah, that's how it would have looked as a child. You might have got suspended from secondary school for being sort of not abusive to the teachers, just you're talking back to the teachers constantly. That's how that would have looked. And also you'd get told off, but it don't matter, you'll still be doing it. And no matter what the punishment is, you'll still be going back and doing the same behaviour. That's how that would have looked at school. You might have also found it hard to fit in with the other kids. I can remember standing in the primary school playground down the road here, thinking I'm definitely different than these kids, the other kids. But obviously, back then we were living in a fucking Stone Age. You weren't even allowed to think fucking, do you know what I mean, mental health. There wasn't no such thing in my day, and in probably all of yours days. Do you know what I mean? And if you're watching this and you're a bit younger, you're very lucky in that respect. Because back in our day, we didn't know nothing. You had to just bottle it up here. You couldn't talk about your feelings. Nobody, not in my family anyway. Everybody was rough and tough. Do you know what I mean? Back then, people were a lot harder, or that's the front they put out. At the end of the day, everyone's a softie, deep down. But yeah, that's how it would have looked like as a child, guys. You'd have been quite outrageous, quite boisterous. And in girls, it's getting more popular in girls. It's not as prevalent in females, but it is very much prevalent. But to get with female ADHD, any females out there, and I know I've got about 20% of females now. I'll have to do a stats show later. Yeah, hello to all the girls anyway watching. You could have ADHD, but yours wouldn't be so obvious. But I'd still be able to tell. I can tell when I talk to people, because I have done in this village. I can tell who's got what, or not exactly what they got, but I can say, yeah, he's got autism or something, or ADHD. Because when I meet these people, I've got a couple of pals in the village, and when I talk to them, it's like we're on the channel. We're on the channel. We can say half a word, and it's like we're connected. It's strange, but anyway, I'll upload this video, and then I'll be talking about, in the part 3, we'll talk about how you can get out. But to get out, it's got to be interfering with your life daily. Obviously, for all them years, I didn't know what the fuck was interfering with my life. But what I will say is when the doctor... My first experience, guys, of ADHD was when after my dad died, which was 10 years ago in September. I was obviously his end-of-life carer. I was trained in here by the NHS and all sorts over the years. But anyway, that's when my ADHD should come through the roof. because it'll sit there dormant. My dad was my rock sort of thing, and obviously I was his because he had it as well. So we both did each other a favour there. Probably why we were so close, and they had a connection, that ADHD connection, because I got it from my father and he got it from his father, and I've had conversations with my dad about it. Anyway, cut to the chase. I was in my local doctor's surgery after my dad died and that, and he said, "Has anyone ever told you you're quite a moody character, Phil?" And I sat there and chuckled to myself. And I thought to myself, well, you ain't the first fucker to say that. I said, "No, doctor, you're not the first one to say that," and I'd admittedly agree. I am quite a moody character. I've been quite moody since I was like a young'un. And that's when he said to me, "Tell me a bit about your childhood." So I told him. My mum died when I was 10. I fucking kind of grew up running around out in the street. I got put in a young offenders institution at 17. Fucking went on to prison. And then looked after my dad, which kept me out of prison for all these years. I'm still here now. And that was last time I was in jail, so when I was 26. And I'm 51 now. Not too bad, have I? It's my dad, looking after my dad, that kept me out of jail, having some focus. But anyway, back to the story. My doctor says to me, "Oh," he listened to me saying about how I grew up, and he said, "Have you ever heard of," he said, "I think you've got," I said to him, "No, what was he say to me?" He said, "Have you ever heard of ADHD?" I said, "Yeah, that's the naughty sort of child's thing, isn't it?" He said, "Well, he said, I think you've got a personality disorder of some description there, Phil." He said, "I want you to go home and just watch something about ADHD." So I went home and I watched this thing from King's College London, which is on YouTube, Professor David Nutt, who was the geezer that got the sack from the police for saying horse riding is more dangerous than, he was a drug czar. He got sacked for saying that horse riding is more dangerous than taking ecstasy, when actually it is. But obviously the police didn't like that, so they sacked him. But anyway, I watched a discussion on him because he's a professor in it, and he was doing a like presentation on how it would look like in children and adults. And I'll tell you what, guys, I'll put it up on. I'll get the link later, and I'll try and find it, and I'll put it out. Dr. David Nutt, Imperial College London. I'll tell you what, I started watching that. It was like fucking light bulb moments, like every fucking 2 seconds. Everything. As soon as he started, it was like ting, ping. Someone with a fucking just pinging on the lights, man. And I was fucking, by the end, it was a 2 hour lecture, I think, guys, or it's an hour, and then there's another bit you can find. So it's a couple of hours. And I'll tell you what, it fucking blew my mind. Blew my mind. When you actually find the thing that you've got, that you fucking hidden all your life, because you thought you were fucking abnormal or fucking different or wrong, because people have fucking branded you and fucking judged you all your fucking life, and you find it what it is. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I went back to the doctors, told me doctor, I said, "Fucking hell." I said, "Fucking, that's me." I said, "I'm blown away, doctor." He said, "Well, here's this ADHD screener test. So it ain't all just swanning around. You don't just swan into it and get out." Obviously, my doctor knew me and my background. I've been quite open about it all. You have to be open about it, otherwise you're going to get nowhere. Anyway, I went home with this ADHD screener, filled all these things in, and fucking I maxed it out. I completely maxed it right out. So then what I had to do, I had to go before the panel, the Oaks panel, to get funding for an ADHD assessment, because none of it's your automatic right. You got to get funded all the way. But if you've got a good case and you can prove that it's interfered with your life right up to that date, to now, which I can, they didn't even bat an eyelid. The board is made up of two doctors. I think it's two doctors and someone else, a psychologist, or two doctors and a normal bod from the street. I think it is. So you got like a wide view, and obviously my doctors backed it, which probably helps. But at the end of the day, they look at the big picture and they didn't even bat an eyelink at me, bat a fucking blink at me. They've just gone, yeah, help that man, and they funded it. But like I've said before, I've never come across something so shocking in my life as autism and ADHD. Obviously, now we're talking about ADHD. I do other shows on autism. It's very. You might be sitting there identifying with these things when you could have autism as well, or you might just have autism because they overlap. See, you got what's called the spectrum, the autism spectrum. You got like the spectrum, ASD spectrum. That's what ASD is. It's autistic spectrum disorder, and that spectrum, ADHD comes in overlap each other, so you can show like symptoms of both. It's strange, but you can work out what's what. But anyway, guys, gonna upload this. Whatever you're doing, have a good one.